When we go to the next chapter, what do we find in it? We find that as she leaves the house to go shopping, Fred, who's in fact the narrator of the story, as I told you earlier only, it is all about her. As she leaves the house to go shopping, Fred notices Nick, Nick, a guardian of the faith, washing the commander's car. Nick lives above the garage. He winks at Fred and offends against decorum, but she ignores him, fearing that he may be an capital EYE. I is a spy assigned to test her. She waits at the corner of Glen, another handmaid, and with whom Alfred will do her shopping. The handmaids always travel in pairs when outside. Glen arrives, and they exchange greetings, careful not to say anything that isn't strictly orthodox. Ogden says that she has heard the war is going well and that the army recently defeated a group of Baptist rebels. So the news are always there, round the corner. Only one needs to be careful. What is the news that is going around? Ogden says that she has heard the war is going on well and that the army recently defeated a group of Baptist rebels. Praise be. Opted response. They reach a checkpoint named by two young guardians. The guardians serve as a routine police force and do menial labor. They are men too young, too old, or just generally unit for the army. Young guardians such as these can be dangerous because they are frequently more fanatical or nervous than older guards. So these young guardians recently shot a Martha as she fumbled for a pass because they thought she was a man in disguise carrying a bomb. Alfred heard Rita and Cora talking about the shooting. Rita was angry, but Cora seemed to accept the shooting as the prize one pays for safety. So at the checkpoint, Alfred subtly flirts with one of the guardians by making eye contact, cherishing the small infraction against the rule. She considers how sex starved the young men must be, since they cannot marry without permission. Masturbation is a sin, and pornography magazine and films are now forbidden. The guardians can only hope to become angels when they will be allowed to take a wife and perhaps eventually get a handmaid. This marks the first time in the novel we hear the word handmaid used. Then we pass on to the next chapter in town of Glen and of Fred. Wait in a line at the shop. We learn the names of this new society, the Republic of Gilead. Often remembers the pre-Gilead days when women were not protected. They had to keep their doors closed to strangers and ignore catcalls on the street. Now no one whistles at women as they walk. No one touches them or talks to them. She remembers Aunt Lydia explaining that it is forbidden and nothing like that is allowed here. But still, she has to be very careful. Every movement has to be very careful, explaining that more than one kind of freedom exists and that in the days of anarchy it was freedom too. Now you are being given freedom from. That is what they have been taught. So the women shop at stores known as names like all flesh and milk and honey. Pictures of meat or fruit mark the stores rather than lettered sign because they decide that even the names of shops are too much temptation for us. A handmaid in the late stages of pregnancy enters the store and raises a flurry of excitement. Often recognizes her from the red center. RE capital RED capital CENTER. She used to be known as Janine, Janine, and she was one of the Aunt Lydia's favorites. Now her name is Off Warren. Opted senses that Janine went shopping just so she could show off her pregnancy. Alfred thinks of her husband Luke. Where is he? The whereabouts of the husband is not known to her, and that their daughter and the life they led before Gilead existed. She remembers a prosaic detail from their everyday life together. She used to store plastic shopping bags under the sink, which annoyed Luke, who worried that their daughter would get one of the bags caught over her head. She remembers feeling guilty for her carelessness. Alfred and Ogwen finish the shopping and go out to the sidewalk, where they encounter a group of Japanese tourists and the interpreter. The tourists want to take a photograph, but Alfred says no. Many of the interpreter's eyes and the handmaids must not appear immodest. Alfred and Ogwen marvels at the woman's exposed legs, high heels, and polished toenails. The tourists ask if they are happy, and since Ogwen does not answer, Alfred replies that they are very happy. Then maybe we pass to the next chapter 6 as they return from shopping. Ogden suggests that they take long way and pass by the church. It is as an old building decorated inside with painting of what seemed to be Puritan from the colonial era. Now the former church is kept as a museum. Alfred describes a nearby boathouse, old dormitories, the football stadium, and red brick sidewalks. Atwood implies that Alfred is walking across what used to be the campus of a Harvard University. So across the street from the church, so across the street from the church sits the wall, and
Sorry, I didn't understand.
now you see that you can understand but one thing. The authorities cover the men's head with bags. One of the bags looks painted with a red smile, where the blood has seeped through. All of the 6 corpses wear signs around their necks picturing fetuses, signaling that they were executed for performing abortions before Gilead came into existence. Although their actions were legal at the time, their crimes are being punished retroactively. Opted feels relieved that none of the bodies could be Luke's, since he was not a doctor. As she stares at the bodies, Opted thinks of Aunt Lydia telling them that they wanted soon get used to their new life. This may not seem ordinary to you now, but after a time it will become ordinary. So in this way, if we sum up the chapter, the theocratic nature of the opulent society, the name of which we learn for the first time in these chapters, becomes clear during her shopping trips. A theocracy exists when there is no separation between church and the state, and a single religion dominates all aspects of life. In Gilead, state and religion are inseparable. The official language of Gilead uses many biblical terms from the various ranks that men hold: angels, guardians of the faith, commanders of the faith, tithes of God, so many names. To the stores where Alfred and Ogden shop milk and honey, all flesh, loaves and fishes. To the names of automobiles, the names are Behemoth, Whirlwind, Chariot. These are the names of automobiles. The very name Gilead refers to a location in ancient Israel. The name also recalls a line from the book of the Psalms. There is a quotation, there is a balm in Gilead. This phrase we realized later has been transformed into a kind of national motto. Atwood does not describe the exact details of Gilead's state religion, So in chapter 2, Alfred describes the room as a return to traditional values. The religious right in America uses the phrase traditional values. So Atwood seems to link the values of this dystopic society to the values of the Protestant Christian religious right in America. Gilead seems more Protestant than anything else, but its brand of Christianity pays far more attention to the Old Testament than the New Testament. The religious justification for the having handmaids, for instance, is taken from the book of Genesis. We learn that neither Catholics nor Jews are welcome in Gilead. The former must convert, while the latter must emigrate to Israel or renounce their Judaism. Atwood seems less interested in religion than in the interaction between religion, politics, and sex. So, you see, The Handmaid's Tale explores the political oppression of women carried out in the name of God, but in large part motivated by a desire to control women's bodies. Gilead sees women's sexuality as dangerous. Women must cover themselves from head to toe, for example, and not reveal their sexual attraction. When Alfred attracts the guardians, she feels this ability to inspire sexual attraction is the only prior power she retains. Every other privilege is stripped away, down to the very act of reading, which is forbidden. Women are not even allowed to read store signs. By controlling women's minds, by not allowing them to read, the authorities more easily control women's bodies. The patriarchs of Gilead want to control women's bodies, their sex lives, and their reproductive rights. The bodies of stained abortionists on the wall hammer home the point. Feminists believe that women must have abortion rights in order to control their own bodies. And in Gilead, giving women control over their bodies is a horrifying crime. When Alfred and Ogden go to the town to shop, geographical clues and street names suggest that they live in what was once Cambridge, Massachusetts, and that their walk takes them near what used to be the campus of Harvard University. The choice of Cambridge for the setting of the Handmaid's Tale is significant, since Massachusetts was a Puritan stronghold during the colonial period of the United States. The Puritans were a persecuted minority in England, but when they fled to New England, they recreated their repression, but they suffered at home, this time casting themselves as the repressors rather than repressed. They established an intolerable religious system in some ways similar to the Gilead. So you see that all the things that we learn about here in this chapter is very much Atwood locates a fictional intolerant society in a place founded by intolerant people by turning the old church into a museum and leaving untouched portraits of Puritan forebearers, the founders of Gilead Society, the admiration for the old Puritan society. Now you see that what we have learned over here in the 6 chapters that we have gone through very fast is this, that we have to remember that here what all is being taught to us is of a different society, different religion we are not aware of. Everything is different over here, and naturally everything appears to be very new to us because we are not acquainted with this society at all. So naturally, that what is taught to us in the till now we have studied these chapters is to be kept in mind. It is to be kept in mind because it is a society which we are not acquainted to.